Good morning, everybody. It's Bryan Caprice, and this is your Monday morning market breakdown. Welcome, everybody. We are at the last final piece of August. We're going back. If you are, man, I can't. School bus is going to be rolling through the neighborhoods. Leaves are going to be changing. I mean, at this point, you're already seeing Halloween candy at these, Sam's Clubs and BJ's and everything. It's absolutely crazy. I cannot believe the summer is over. It is here. Now. Interesting thing about that, last week, if you guys were trying to trade the markets, you guys know that it was rather flat. Like I said, vacations take markets, and last week seemed to be one of those. We had some good news releases last week. Not many, but we had some good setups last week. But for the most part, it was pretty flat. So hopefully the markets are coming back this week, and we get some movement, some more volatility, and some craziness, so we can make some money this week. So we will see. All right, but like I said, end of summer. Here we go, getting ready to restart the kind of back to business kind of September trading, and let's see if we can finish off August with a bang this week. So with that being said, guys, let me jump into kind of who I am so you know where my trades are based off of and where my point of view is. I feel it's really important to understand where I'm coming from in my trading, especially if it aligns with you, or on the flip side, if it doesn't align with you, to understand what I'm looking at and where my kind of background knowledge comes from. So I am the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple. And my style, and really kind of where my background is really how to remove a lot of the distractions from the market. I'm not a big indicator guy. You guys will see that. I'm a price action trader. I read supply and demand, look behind the scenes who I'm trading against, and that's really where I focus most of my positions on, is understanding kind of the behind the scenes action of things. I am also not one of those traders that feels that I need to spend 18 hours a day in front of a computer. I am very much a big believer in using technology, setting alerts, getting or they're alerted by email, having it go directly to my phone, and then coming back to the computer so I can do other things throughout the day. Nice thing about that, guys, is if you do have a 9 to 5 still, it's wonderful because you can still have a 9 to 5 and become a trader, whether become a full-time trader or just use it as an additional kind of stream of income for yourself. Again, those are the things that I believe in. I did work for the advisor division of one of the big three banks. I actually believe it's one of the big two banks now. And again, spent a number of years. I spent a little bit of time there, left very, very quickly, ended up realizing that my passion is truly helping people to learn how to trade and do it themselves. Spent about 6 years traveling around. That's where I met my wife, got remarried. This is my little one right now, my twin boys from my first marriage. Stay busy with coaching for them, but I am definitely my pride and joy right now is that little one. I take care of her during the day, and I absolutely love it. When the boys were that little, I spent time traveling all over the place, and I said for this next one, I'm not going to do it, and absolutely love it. And again, use that technology, trade the markets when there's a setup, and again, that's what I believe in. So you guys will see in my trading when I'm analyzing charts that a lot of this is based off of that. Okay. School buses are already taking over. Jason's like, school buses are already here. Jason, Maryland passed a law a few years ago. We can't go back until after Labor Day. So we have 1 week to go. But I know my sister, she's in Texas, and her kids went back a week and a half ago. So almost everybody's back. How about that one? All right. So with that being said, guys, before I can touch any of the charts, I do have to make sure that I go over this Nadex risk disclaimer first. Now understand that trading on Nadex involves financial risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. The information presented here is for information and education purposes only and should not be considered an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Any trading decisions that you make are solely your responsibility, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Nadex contracts are based on underlying asset classes, including Forex, stock index futures, and commodity futures. Now, trading can be volatile, and investors risk losing their investment on any given transaction. However, the design of Nadex contracts ensures that investors cannot lose more than the cost to enter the transaction. Very important you guys understand that, okay? Now, Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, okay? With that being said, let's just jump right into this, okay? Whoops, there we go. A little bit too fast on that one. So as you guys know, I kind of have a top 3 list every single week, all right? And now the top 3 is not, obviously, it's not guaranteed trades or anything, but what it is this is my top 3 kind of news releases that I'm looking for. I absolutely love news trading. I use it as one of the kind of main, I guess, strategies that I would trade. What these 3 things are the top 3, in my opinion, opportunities for us for the week. Okay, when I say opportunities, what I'm looking at is, do they have the potential, 1, of missing, and 2, what type of explosive reactions do we have off of these new releases? Okay, number 1, I feel that on Thursday morning, the preliminary GDP for the U.S. is going to be I think that has the biggest chance of some fireworks this week. Why? Well, very simply, the President of the United States, he gauges a lot of his kind of, and this is my opinion, I feel that he gauges a lot of his success based off of what the stock market is doing. GDP was something that he came in and called a shot of 3% early on, and everybody said it wasn't possible, and we've had that. But if that starts slipping, again, I think that's something that he's going to take personally, and I think there'll be tweets, and tweets is what's been, moving the market. The group of guys that I work with, my students, they keep joking, when am I coming out with the Twitter class, right? Because it seems like tweets these days are just dominating the markets. Everything's going normal, everything's going good, and all of a sudden, bam, a tweet just goes in there and just makes everything crazy, right? But I do feel that this one will definitely have a lot of impact on the market. Being at 8:30, I feel, and being late in the week, I also feel like this is going to start dictating what the indices are going to do late in the week. Obviously, we'll see how they start off the week, but again, ending the week with, whether a bad note or a good note could be, again, going into a holiday weekend, we'll see. Again, Friday may get, people leaving a little bit early. I think Thursday is going to be the big bang for us. Okay. Number two, the CAD GDP numbers. Whoops, I spelled that one wrong. It is not Great Britain pound. It is, whoops, it is this, gross domestic product. Typically Friday mornings, again, we have kind of joint releases. Now, again, this week we do have some news on Friday morning for the US, but again, we are going into a holiday weekend. So because the CAD is by itself, again, GDP is always a number that drives the economy, all right? It gives you a gauge of how the economy is doing, but something smaller like the CAD with no US news kind of counterbalancing it definitely gives us an opportunity where we can have some movement, okay? Now, why it's important that the US may or may not be there, that, again, people leaving early on vacation, is there's no counterbalance to this, okay? So a pair like the dollar CAD, if it's CAD news, the CAD can drive it, and again, the US traders don't really have much say because a lot of them are not necessarily going to be there. Again, they're leaving early. This is the end of the summer bash. Let's go, right? So again, that's what I think number two is going to be, give us the, an opportunity. Number three is actually today. Now, there are a couple other news releases during the week that are pretty close. One interesting note I'll show you guys in a second from Forex Factory has been upgraded. We'll show you that one in a second. But today at 8:30, we have core durable good orders, okay? Again, big news release. After last week, again, like I said, last week, the market, in my opinion, for currencies at least, was on vacation. It was a very, very slow week, low volumes across the board. Monday, I think this week, anybody that's coming back, again, this could be, back to business this week. Typically, the end of August is when it picks up again. Today could be the day, right? I mean, today could be the day starting with this core durable good orders. This is actually a very high quality release. If it is a miss, again, that could set the tone for the rest of the week for indices as well, if this is good or it's bad. And again, there was a revision before. Last time, there was a revision. I'll show you that in just a second. So for me, these are my top three, all right? So with that being said, let me bring us over to Forex Factory. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. There we go. So for Forex Factory for me, and again, you guys can see there's already been a bunch of movement overnight, right? So what I've done here is I've gone down and I've used this, the scanner over here, and I put a filter on there, okay? I do leave all news up there, it's fine. I've only put the high release ones in here. I'll go back into mediums as well so we can get a little bit better of an idea here. Now understand that today is day 3 of the G7 meetings. Again, that means there could be some news releases, some comments and things like that made later today. So just be aware of that is still kind of, overhanging out there. Again, anytime you see, kind of the end of a meeting, there has to be some type of response, okay? So again, you're gonna see something in there. We'll see what that is later today. There's no way to predict that. There's no number or anything based off of it. After that, you see the core, the core durable good orders. They're going in there. A little bit of FOMC stuff. I don't see those moving the markets too much. I think this 8:30 a.m. one is going to be kind of really what sets the markets off today. Going into Tuesday, okay? Tuesday, you can see this, consumer confidence number. Again, it's an important number. It may or may not be one that you trade all the time or look at. You can see as well, as far as, there's not really a whole lot of, information on this one. It's kind of, again, mixed around a little bit. I would rate it as maybe like a B+, but again, it's the only U.S. news really that morning. The manufacturing index in Richmond is not as much of a mover. So again, this consumer confidence number is probably what the news is going to talk about if there's nothing else on a geopolitical spectrum, okay? Now, going into Wednesday morning, you guys can see crude oil inventories has been upgraded once again back to a red, okay? Last week and earlier this year, this was downgraded back to an orange. It's now been upgraded again. Okay, oil is back in that area where, it's starting to make a difference again. We're seeing that release is, again, hasn't been bad, right? You can see oil back in. I mean, oil's really been hovering between that 55 and 52-ish area for the last week, but there's starting to be more emphasis on there. And with fall coming around, that means that they're going back to fall gas versus summer gas. Prices collapsing. Yeah, and those inventories seem like they're starting to make a difference again. And again, remember, a lot of people don't look at this, but remember, you can trade commodities. You can trade oil on Nadex. And in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, I believe it's a better place to start learning how to trade oil than it would be if you were trading oil futures. Okay, oil futures is kind of like the wild, wild west. Definitely not something in my opinion, that a beginner should be in there trying to learn how to trade oil with futures. Do it over here in Nadex, okay? If you guys are not already, okay? And again, this has been upgraded. If you want to trade in currencies as well, you would trade that with the dollar CAD currency pair. The Canadian economy is based off of oil and exporting oil. When oil goes down, so does the Canadian dollar. So does that economy. It hurts them pretty bad. They love it when it goes high, but when it goes low, that's where you're seeing it. Now, on Wednesday night, you do have an interesting release as well. At 9, you have some New Zealand information, but at 9:30, you have Aussie data, this private capital expenditure. It kind of sounds like a weird, like, what do you mean private capital expenditure? That's kind of not, it's not your normal kind of your verbiage for a news release. It is considered high, and again, remember at that time at night, it's basically the Aussie market open by itself. Obviously, it's the Asian session, so yes, the Tokyo is open as well, but that's not considered a kind of driving force currency. The yen is always considered kind of the one you want to trade against. The Aussie offers some great opportunities at night. If you're not trading this, you're not doing yourself justice. Okay, these 9:30 releases, you're getting 40, 50 pip moves based off of his high impact news releases. Okay, it's also setting up like tones overnight for overnight trends. Okay, again, this is how you use technology. When you're seeing these things set up, this is an opportunity for you to place trades at night, wake up, and again, you may already be out of the trade. All right. So that's on Wednesday night. Going to Thursday. Thursday is where this preliminary GDP number is. Okay, it's 8:30 in the morning. The CAD current account is not really going to affect much. You have a lot of different opportunities to trade this. You're going to be able to trade this with indices, once the market opens. You're going to look at, obviously dollar CAD. I'm sorry, dollar CAD's there, euro dollar is there, pound dollar is there, dollar yen is there. A lot of different ways to trade this, okay? And you guys can see, for the most part, forecasts, they come in pretty close. But you guys can see, we were right on last time. If we get any type of miss on this one, and again, 2 is much less than what we've seen for these other forecasts in here, it's going to be interesting. Okay, if this is a 2.2, or if this is under 2, if this is a 1.8 or even a 1.9, all of a sudden you're going to start, speculators are going to start moving this market pretty quickly. So again, definitely think that's a big one to watch for the week. I think it could really set the tone for what Friday's going to be, and then I think Thursday obviously will be a low volume day, just because again, holiday weekend and things like that. Going into Friday, okay, like I said, you're going to see personal spending. I don't see that going to be able to move a lot. Like I said, I think a lot of U.S. traders are going to bolt very early. CAD GDP at 8:30 in the morning, I think, is going to be kind of the main focus of that one if you're going to look for a dollar CAD play. I think that's probably the best setup that morning. And again, you guys can see you have, China at night, but obviously Friday night markets are closed and Nadex are closed. Not really going to get into Sunday for next week. All right, so that's kind of the the landscape as far as what we have. So let's dive into let's go into charts and kind of run through these real quick and see what kind of opportunities we have based off this the weekend. Now again, there already has been some movement at this point. You guys can see right here in the Aussie. This thing has just been straight up in the air. We had a bit of a gap situation. It came, it filled the gap, it kind of pulled back from the gap. So a lot of movement in this one overnight. So where we are now is a very interesting situation, okay? If you guys follow me, you guys know I'm a big believer in reading price action, reading candles, and not only just candles, the bodies, but also understanding the wicks. Now, we've pulled back, and again, we've had this nice rally down. You guys can see it. It was really just flat, and then it finally kind of collapsed and shot straight down. You guys can see the start and the basing of all that area. We're starting to pull it up to that area right now. And again, you guys can see this wick over wick is something my students talk about all the time, okay? It is kind of a hidden area of buyers and sellers. We are now pulling back up into, and again, you guys can see it here. I'll mark it off for you. We are pulling back up into this area right here, okay, which is a wick over wick, okay? Very interesting situation. We've already seen it kind of pull back one time and kind of push back down again. You're able to see it over here on the 30-minute as well. typically that's an area for reversal. For today, for me right now, I'm going to be looking at some reversal signals in here. I think as fast as it kind of came down, it shot right back up again. This red dotted line was actually an area where we were looking for somewhat of a turn. We wanted to see where it opened over the weekend, and we actually talked about that last week. So we've rallied back up again. We've filled the gap. It actually kind of blew through it and kind of pulled back. Again, nice, healthy kind of re-rally since last night, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. This correction went a little bit far, but then again, bam, impulse, impulse, impulse. So again, we're starting to slow. You're seeing the candles get much smaller. So again, for me, I'm looking for more bearish opportunities here. Looking for the Aussie dollar. Again, Aussie dollar is that one load you guys can see. Very flat over last week, right? Again, it was basically on vacation. We stayed more or less inside of this area. So this was an area I draw on the tops and bottoms, kind of a basing back and forth again. And I was very interested in the fact that we were ending up Friday at the very, very bottom of the channel. Now again, exploded to the downside, much basically exactly what we saw in the last pair. Rallied all the way back up again, same healthy rally, same kind of pullback here around 1 a.m. And again, price launched higher. Now, this one differs slightly because again, on the 4 hour, you guys can see we had this really, really, really crazy wick right here, right? This crazy wick makes the analysis a little bit different. And again, one of the things I do like about this is you guys see the descending candles here, lower, 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 and then again, this retested up and didn't even come as high. This is showing me that there are sellers in here. And again, when we saw this price up, it hit right into this kind of sawtooth right here and shot back down again. And we're starting to approach that area now. So of the two, I think I like the Aussie yen a little bit better than this one. But again, similar setup. I mean, the Aussie yen was a little bit more, impulse correction, impulse correction. They're doing what we're supposed to do. This one hasn't had quite the same kind of pushback. Again, you see that this is just what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 green bars straight up in the air, and we're just finally starting to get a little bit of a red. Okay, so, with that being said, I'm looking for some type of pullback. I do like it better on the Aussie yen. The Aussie yen does typically offer a little bit more movement as far as on a day basis on an ATR. And again, this one has been pretty flat. All right. So we'll see what kind of opportunities we have in this one. All right. Again, but like I said, a little bit more bearish. We've pulled back into that kind of sideways basing channel. Again, the overnight bursts out of the bottom. And again, for those of you that are unfamiliar with this, whenever I see a candle like this, especially in the 30-minute, again, remember, this is called a parabolic retracement. We're looking for retracements. When we see something like this, the first thing I'm looking for is a bit of a retracement. And we ended up getting that. It didn't last very long. It was about a 4-hour trade. Okay. There's a webinar coming up on this type of trading action. All right. So dropping down, looking over at the euro pound. Okay. Euro pound was great. It finally pulled away. So we've been talking, God, for ages. I actually had a sell level on top of a sell level. And the first level, we got a little bit of reaction off of it before it kind of pulled back again. And again, now we're seeing euro kind of weakness, pound strength coming back in. And it's been pretty healthy. We had this push down, a little bit of base, push down. Again, a little bit of a gap up right over this weekend. Okay. Again, not entirely unexpected. It gapped and it's basically just kind of stayed there. It did pull back. It did fill the gap and it just stayed, right? So one of the things I'm looking at on this one is I do have a downtrend set up on 2 different of my time frames, my larger time frame, my intermediate time frame, and I should be looking for entries on the lower time frame. But unfortunately, what is it really doing right now? Again, we do have a bit of a gap. There was a bit of a pullback, right? It is getting into this area, though, that I'm very, very cautious about, okay? This area right here was the start of kind of the last big push, right? It was kind of slow, right? And kind of, pulled over, hit, and then exploded, right? Impulse, correction, impulse up, finally ran into those sellers, and then it started to push back down again. So right now we are, again, I'll measure it so you guys can see it. Where's my ruler? Right there. From where price is right now, you're looking at about 118 pips. The ATR on this one is only about 71. Okay, so with it being 71, it's going to take over a day most likely to get back down to that area. I need some type of selling, and again, that's a great trade. We can capture that 118 to the downside, but we need some type of confirmation. Right now, I'm not seeing it here. I'm seeing these lower lows, but price keeps getting forced back up again. Okay, it's running into orders, and again, this is filling the gap, right? It's also a holiday. Okay, so again, be a little cautious with this pair. If we can get some type of confirmation, which we have not gotten over on this side, again, you probably want to be a little bit, cautious with this one, just from where we are. Unfortunately, this wasn't the best gap situation. It did gap, large candle here. Again, your entry for a reversal would have been right in this area, right around 90.78. But for me, it was a no trade because it only could go about 8 8 pips before we got right back to the gap. So it's kind of flatlined, it's kind of based. Again, I'm looking for it to come down. The next time I'm looking for it to get long is down in this area, 89.46-ish area, but we'll see what it looks like when we get down there, what type of levels of kind of, what kind of speed bumps have been put in above, right? Looking at euro yen. So euro yen, similar situation, right? This actually almost looks like the Aussie yen. This is all the yen pairs look very, very similar. We had this, this gap to the downside, and then what did it do? It retraced up. And again, this one I would say is probably a little bit healthier as well, right? We had the push down, and then we had the reversal, right? The green, the red, the green, the red, the green, the red, the green, the red. Again, the impulse, the impulse correction back up again. Now this one, obviously you can see it's very, very clear that this one basically on Friday just flatlined, right? I mean, it literally came and just went sideways, and before this drop, it had been doing the same thing, okay? Similarly to the Aussie yen, we have also pulled back up into this wick over wick situation, right? This wick over wick over on the 4 hour does a lot of things. One, it showed me where we're going back and forth, and we finally had an explosive candle to the downside, bit of a pullback and then the gap, but we're in that same area right now. We're seeing price made one attempt, came down, came up again didn't even make it as high, went lower, grabbed some more orders, and made another valiant attempt, and again, it ran into the same situation where we ran right into this wick over wick and then kind of pulled back, and now we're making lower highs, okay? So once U.S. traders come online, the yen will start getting a little bit more active. We had that news release today at 8:30. We'll see what type of power the yen is going to have over this type of control today. So we'll see if we can start getting a push back to the downside. Me as well, again, it's downtrend setup, downtrend with a sideways bias. They're all kind of telling me the same thing, but we've had so much of a rally back up again, and what we've seen in the last week to 2 weeks is anytime we have really a concentrated effort in one direction for a little bit, we're seeing that retrace back again. So again, probably similar situation. I'm looking for a bit of a retracement back to the downside. I think a lot of this is going to be dictated by the 8:30 news this morning. That's going to kind of set us off on our way, all right? Looking at the euro dollar. There we go. All right, so euro dollar. This gave us a huge spike right up in the air, right? Anytime we see this, we're looking for retracements. We're well on our way on the retracement. It is running into the area. Again, here is one of those wick over wicks, right? Right there, and look where price is bouncing off of. It ran right into it, okay? You guys can see here was your gap situation. It popped up, kind of came back over again, and it just dropped. So this is what I'm looking to retrace on, knowing that we're going to get a speed bump in this area. Okay, so it's doing everything it should be. There is another little one down here at the bottom that I would be cautious with as well. This little area right here. Okay, so this is your first speed bump. Once it breaks through, most likely it will run into another area down here between 110.82 and 110.72, this little 10 pip zone. But this is also right where kind of the initiation of the move happened. So your profit target is most likely on a retrace is going to be down in that area. Okay, it's going to be down over in here anyway. I'll change this to green so we don't confuse too many people here. Let's go in here. We'll make this one, we'll just do regular green. Okay, your profit target for this is most likely going to be right in this area, right behind there. So again, depending on your risk level, you may just want to take it, you may have wanted to take it here, you may want to take it all the way to the bottom zone. But again, parabolic retrace situation, whenever you see a big pop like this, so this pop went right back into a zone here, liked it, turned, and again, we're looking for it to retrace back down to the 110.65 area as the eventual profit target. So we're going to keep that where it is right now. Now, this one you guys will see if you guys are looking at the upper section here. It is telling me that we have an uptrend setup situation, but for me, based off of where we kind of bounced off of, it's not so much as an uptrend because we ran into an area of sellers. Okay, we will always have uptrend setup situations, but if we bounce off an area of sellers, that's a potential trend change area. Okay, again, it is what it is. And again, if you guys go back to the measured moves, you guys will see this was another measured move off of this piece right here. Okay, we didn't carry it through, but again, there and there back again. All right. This morning, again, the U.S. news will affect this as well. I expect there, again, if it is a miss, I think there will be some movement over here. And again, when U.S. traders come online, I think we will continue to push back to the downside. So we'll see how that one rolls. Let's go across and look at pound yen. So pound yen, again, it is a yen-based pair. It looks just like the other ones. For me, this one has been not as tradable just because we're kind of wedged between two areas. You guys can see it. We had the big pop up, a little bit of the base, big burst to the downside. We were starting to retrace up again. Again, this is what all the yen pairs look like, right? Gap down, solidified at the bottom, and then boom, healthy retrace all the way back up again. And again, this one is flatlined as well. Nice little sneaky thing here. I don't know if you guys saw it. I unfortunately did not see this one. I was sleeping. But you guys see, there's the top. Look at this spike up and kind of the pull back down again. That's why we look for these kind of movements, this basing, this down, sideways, and then large pops to the downside. Again, very popular pattern in price action trading. Very similar position. Again, this yellow down here is a daily zone, a daily buying zone for me. So it was something that I was kind of watching out for. And then this top section here was something we had prior in the past that I was looking actually. It was a trade where we broke through, retested, and then continued to push down. But again, we are wedged in this one. I think we'll probably have a bit of a retrace to the downside on this one as well, particularly because it came off this kind of 4-hour retracement. But again, it completed its retracement. The gap did what it was supposed to do. We filled on this one. And again, we're waiting for your line. Let's look for the dollar yen or the pound dollar. So pound dollar. Okay, this one last week gave you a bit of a fake out had you been trading this one. And I wanted to show this one. Here's the big spike that we're looking for retraces. Well, immediately turning came all the way back down to here. Okay, so again, just be cautious. You may see this green bar and be like, hey, Brian, you said that, you know, hey, this is what we're looking to retrace. Well, what it did. But again, because you guys are visually looking at the bodies and not the wicks, that's why you need to be a little bit cautious of it. Okay. For me right now, this one I don't love as much. Like I said, I was happy to see some pound strength come back in again. It is being healthy on the 4-hour. Again, you're seeing these big, spikes up and retraces, spikes up and retests. Again, where we are right now, really without some true pound news, I feel like this one's going to have problems going much, much higher. I was definitely happy to see it last week. I think it was more based off of European weakness, not necessarily pound strength. But it was, I think, healthy for the pound to kind of start getting a little bit of a bounce back again to see that. And again, on the 4-hour, you can see that going higher. Where we're right now, obviously, flatlined. Obviously here, flatlined. We had a little bit of movement as traders were coming online. But, for me right now, you're getting conflicting signals. It's showing you you're in an uptrend setup, right? Because we are in an uptrend. We are pulling back. That is a setup situation. Yet on the 4-hour, what we're seeing is the exact opposite. We're seeing a downtrend setup, right? We have the downtrend here again. We're getting lower lows, lower highs. It is slightly green, so it's pulling back a bit. And then again on the 30-minute, you can see we need some traders to come online. All right, so that's where it works. That's how it works. For me on this one, if you are looking for somewhat of a downtrend setup, just make sure that your targets are set within reach, right? There's going to be probably some buyers stepping into it here around the 122.05 to 121.94, this 10 pip zone here. For any type of shorts, a potential target for you guys is going to most likely be down in this area. Again, potential. You got to make sure that it matches your risk profile. But like I said, be prepared for a little bit of again, there's a little speed bump over here, a little pothole on the way down. The way that this is formed, very, very nice zone right here that you got to be cautious of. Okay. Don't like the pound as much. Like I said, I think as we get closer, I think the pound has great opportunity in September because with the Brexit, as it is right now, they're doing this they're really forcing this no Brexit deal kind of piece. I think as we get closer and closer and closer to the date, we will have more certainty about the pound, and the pound will kind of return back to being a little bit more dominant. Whether it be weak or strong, we will have a little bit more certainty about it. And again, I think that's a good thing. Looking at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is what it is. We have lower highs, higher lows. We're kind of consolidating back in again. And this is what this pair has been doing. It consolidates and then it explodes out. So we just went off of a 4-hour kind of sell zone up top on Friday. Actually, I guess it was on Friday. And then we kind of pushed back to the downside. And now we're just literally basing sideways back and forth. Now, the problem is, obviously, neither of these two markets are open right now. I would be looking later in the week, as we mentioned before. The number 2 is going to be on Friday for the dollar CAD. But also look at this pair on Wednesday when we have the commodities, when we have oil trade, right? This is the proxy. So again, try to take advantage of that. Again, lower highs, higher lows, consolidating. Neither market's open. Again, it's Sunday. I totally get it. We'll see where it goes. All right, the gap on this one was a little bit lower. It got right to the very top of it before it turned. This one was a little bit of a fake out situation. But again, ATR on this one is about 65. So it is shrinking at this point still, even though we have these larger candles in here. Okay, just be cautious with that. Dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss was kind of a hidden gem last week, as you guys know. Now, Dollar Swiss had this large kind of, pull down, right? large movement to the downside, looking for a retrace. And again, that's what we've been able to get. It's retraced halfway back through. It did hit this kind of zone that we were worried about bouncing off of. Is bouncing there, but we'll see if it's able to find enough buyers. I do like the fact that we do have these wicks against the wall over here. When I say wall, I mean the body of the candle. Shows me that there are seller or buyers in here, and again, pretty healthy, right? You know, pulled up, a little bit of a bounce back, a little bit farther. Again, we've seen that with the other pairs, but again, up, back, up, pulling back right now again. Again, the lineup here at 98.37 is the, you know, again, potential target for me in this long, right? We'll see if it is able to continue to go higher, and again, if not, obviously cut your losses, or you know, cut your winners short, right? Don't let this thing retrace all the way back down on you if you were in this position long. Going across to the dollar yen. All right, so dollar yen, it looks almost like the other three in there, right? Again, Aussie yen, pound yen, euro yen, all very, very similar. Now, again, this one retraced a bit higher, very, very large drop on Friday, and again, that happens. This was actually more of a retest of this kind of initial pop, right? Kind of faked people out, came back up again, and then made the attempt down and completed the target from last week, from the 13th. We have retraced back up again. Now, also a very healthy retracement, right? Price popped down again, and we formed our impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse. And again, that deep correction that we saw on all the other yen pairs, and we've pushed up and now stabilized and based, okay? Now, this one has a very, very, very tiny sell area right in here. You guys can see kind of the salmon color to the left, or I'm sorry, to the right, looking at this zone. Again, this morning, that US number in about a half hour from now, that is going to obviously dictate where this one is going to move from now on. Based off of it, just looking at it on a technical purpose, again, we're seeing a lot, you know, candles are getting much, much smaller. Again, you're seeing, you know, pullbacks are a little bit deeper. I think, again, I feel like we're going to be a little bit more bearish on this pair this morning, but again, a lot of this is going to depend on what the news looks like. If we get a new spike up, you know, a spike in price up because of the news, I'm absolutely going to be looking for something. For me, I'll be looking to go most likely short up, you know, up in this area, the 106.40-ish. I'm going to start looking for bearish opportunities, and again, it may be something you want to, again, you know, up in this area, we're seeing this basing, right? Whenever you see a drop, base, and large movement, look for those things, right? Obviously, there's something going on right here. Why did it stop? Why did it base, right? Yeah, because it found some buyers, pushed up, and then they were gone. Once those buyers were out, explosion. So again, there's something magical in this area between 106.44 to 106.60. All right, so just keep track of that. So with that being said, guys, that is the last of the Nadex based pairs. As always, again, we are going to be here every Monday morning. Obviously, next week is a holiday, so we will not be here next Monday, but we will be here next Tuesday morning. So I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for joining. And if you guys have any additional questions, this is how you can reach me. You guys can reach me at keeptradingsimple.com. You can go the old-fashioned way, and I say old-fashioned, but you can just email me at support@keeptradingsimple.com. Check us out on Twitch nightly if you like. Join Discord. You're more than welcome to join us and bounce any questions you guys want off of me. So with that being said, have an absolutely great week trading. Have a great holiday weekend. I hope everybody is safe, happy, spend some time with the family, and I will catch you guys next Tuesday morning. Take care.